If you want to know what the best countries are for expats, the best thing to do is to ask them.
This year, Internations asked 12,000 expats in 181 countries what they thought about their home away from home. And I gotta say, we were pretty surprised by a few of the countries that made the top 10 list.
And in our usual fashion, we looked at some other research because, of course, we cannot rely on just one list.
Yeah, so we also looked at the Vision of Humanity World Peace Index, which is kind of a gauge of safety around the world. We also looked at the CEO World Reports for Healthcare and Quality of Life. So we're going to share those rankings. It's kind of a sanity check as we go through this list.
And stick around to the end if you're curious where the US and Canada ranked on this list compared to other countries.
All right, without further ado, number 10 is Singapore.
Singapore has been a popular choice with expats for a long time because they have a high quality of life, but that does come with a price tag. It is not cheap to live in Singapore.
No, in fact, several of the countries on this list are not that affordable. I know often we talk about cheap countries to live, but that is not the case with Singapore.
Singapore is very family friendly and it has excellent education.
It's also very, very clean. They keep the place clean. It's got great public transportation. You're going to find lots of taxis available too.
You're also going to find lots of different expats from all over the world.
And one of the things I like about Singapore is you can actually get a mortgage as an expat, unlike where we live in Ecuador, where if you want to buy property, it's an all-cash deal. In Singapore, you can borrow money to buy property.
But you can also rent. However, rental and property in general is more expensive because Singapore is a small island and land comes at a premium.
Singapore also has a free economy, if that's important to you. That means that you can store your gold there and use it to pay for stuff.
Yeah, and you could put your gold and other precious metals in a vault and then watch it on your webcam so you can feel close to it all the time. That makes you happy.
Yeah, 24/7 feet of your gold bars. That would be pretty cool.
Another great thing about Singapore is that English is widely spoken, so you don't have to deal with the language barriers.
In terms of the Global Peace Index, Singapore ranks number 9. And the quality of life is number 19, and healthcare, they're ranked number 24. All of those are really high. It makes Singapore very appealing for a lot of expats.
Number 9 on the list is Australia.
Some of the popular expat cities in Australia are Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and Adelaide.
Australia is so much more than just the outback or the Great Barrier Reef, although I think that they are very important to Australia. But you've also got amazing wildlife, water sports. It is a huge outdoor lover's paradise because there's just so many things to do. If you're really into camping and hiking, you're going to be in heaven in Australia.
Or if you just want to go a walkabout in the outback.
Okay, I knew that was coming. I don't think you can do an Australian accent.
Oh, come on, Sheila. They also have a really strong economy, and like I was just joking, they speak English, although it's a different form of English than we're used to. We can communicate without learning too much of a foreign language. It is more expensive than some of the other countries on our list, especially our cheap countries video that we did recently.
Yeah, housing in particular can be more expensive. However, there are lots of good job opportunities and they do pay well.
And you can drive there, although you're gonna have to drive on the wrong side of the road, or I guess technically the left side of the road. I know they hate it when we tell them they drive on the wrong side.
Yeah, I think they would beg to differ, JP. The nice thing about Australia is that they have that down-to-earth, easygoing vibe that they are very famous for. So that might be a bit of a culture shock for you, but in our opinion, that is a big plus.
One of the downsides, though, is you might feel a little bit isolated because they are kind of far away from the United States and Canada and Europe. It takes a long flight and sometimes multiple flights to get there.
Australia is a very safe country. It is number 27 on the Global Peace Index.
It also ranks number 17 for quality of life and number 6 for healthcare. So really good healthcare in Australia, in the top 10.
Moving abroad dramatically improved our quality of life because we were able to totally downsize and dramatically reduce our cost of living. But you might be able to do that without leaving the United States.
And that's why we are so excited to be working with today's sponsor, Omaze. They're offering you the chance to win a $130,000 custom tiny home from True Form Tiny. and support a great cause, the National Park Foundation.
Go to omaze.com/AmeliaandJP to enter for your chance to win this incredible prize while supporting our national parks.
Omaze launched with a mission to transform typical charitable giving. They give you the chance to dream big and win one-in-a-lifetime prizes, all while helping nonprofits make the world a better place.
The chance to win a tiny home is so exciting. Those tiny homes are amazing.
We went to a tiny home convention in Denver several years ago, and man, we were so impressed at what the massively big things they can do in such a tiny space.
I know, and to be able to do your own custom design, wow, that would be incredible. A tiny home is a great way to downsize and reduce your cost of living while living in a totally cool space.
Or you can rent it out on Airbnb and earn some extra money if you don't want to live in it. So for your chance to win a $130,000 custom tiny home from Trueform Tiny, check below for a link or go to omaze.com/AmeliaandJP.
Now I totally want one of those tiny homes.
Me too.
And now back to the list, and number 8 is Thailand.
This is one of the most visited countries in the world because of its amazing history and culture.
Besides the natural beauty, Thailand has developed modern cities. Bangkok, Phuket, and Chiang Mai are very popular with expats.
There's also a rail system, so you don't need a car. You can take the train or buses, tuk-tuks, lots of options for transportation.
Or you can get yourself a scooter and zip around on a scooter.
It's also really affordable. In fact, it made our list of top 10 cheap countries around the world where a couple can live for less than $2,000 a month.
Thailand has beautiful beaches, incredible mountain ranges, and a lot of national parks for you to explore and enjoy.
And then there's the food. Oh, that's why I would want to go to eat that delicious Thai food.
I think I would want to go for the Thai food, but also for the cultural aspects because it is just such an incredibly diverse country.
In terms of safety, Thailand ranks 103 on the Global Peace Index, so kind of far down there. It's 38 for quality of life and ranks 13 for healthcare.
Number 7 is Vietnam.
Vietnam is super popular with expats. In fact, it also made our list of cheap expat destinations because you can live there pretty affordably.
And it has a big expat population. There are around 100,000 expats from all over the world living in Vietnam.
Yeah, that's more than double how many live in Ecuador where we are. It's also considered very safe, has a pretty low crime rate, and it has a growing economy.
Da Nang, Ho Chi Minh, and Hanoi are popular with expats. You can easily find luxury rentals at affordable prices.
And the country is also spending a lot of energy and money on improving their infrastructure.
And of course, Vietnam has the incredible Vietnamese food. You do not want to miss that. Food and culture.
In terms of the Global Peace Index, they rank number 44, number 62 for quality of life, and number 66 for healthcare. So kind of middle of the road for those.
Number 6 is UAE, or United Arab Emirates.
The UAE is comprised of 7 emirates. The most well-known are Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
One of the great things about UAE is that you do not have to worry about paying income tax. We're not saying there's no tax at all, but there's no income tax.
There's also a wide variety of expats living there from all over the world.
And there are a lot of English speakers. However, Arabic is the main language, and you should probably learn some.
The cities are really incredible, and the beaches are amazing. Looking at some of the buildings and designs, and they look like they're straight out of Star Wars or some futuristic movie.
The cost of living is higher there, though, but you get so much for your money. You're getting excellent infrastructure. The countries are extremely safe. You've got a modern lifestyle and a very stable economy.
There's also a lot of work opportunities. In fact, the expats who live there, a lot of them work for companies in UAE. Some things might take a little bit of getting used to, though. It's a very conservative culture. It's an Islamic country with a monarchy. People dress very modestly in public. You're not allowed to criticize the rulers. That is against the law. There's no PDA in some areas, like holding hands or kissing in public. It can get you arrested or a ticket, so you have to be really careful about some of those things.
Yeah, you may experience some culture shock, so this is a good reminder, regardless of what country you're going to, that it's important you understand the local values and customs and laws.
The weekends are also on Friday and Saturday, so you have to get used to that. Sunday is the first day of the work week.
The UAE ranks number 60 on the Global Peace Index.
It's number 30 for quality of life and number 20 for healthcare.
Number 5 on the list is Spain.
Spain is a European country, but it's got a nice laid-back vibe. Tons of history and culture and castles to go explore.
And you've got great Spanish wine.
The most important thing. It's a Spanish-speaking country, and English is not widely spoken, at least compared to some of the other countries on this list. So you're going to want to learn to speak some Spanish.
Spain is a safe country, but they do have petty crime like everywhere in the world.
It's also affordable, but it's still more expensive than the other Spanish-speaking countries, especially in Latin America.
Madrid and Barcelona are very popular with tourists and expats, but they can be more expensive. So you can check out other areas such as Seville and Valencia, which are more affordable.
Spain has a lot of modern cities and beautiful countryside and also beautiful Mediterranean beaches.
You can also visit the beautiful Canary Islands, which are close to Africa and very popular with the Spaniards, especially during the winter months.
You might need to bring your patients with you though, because the culture shock can be severe. They move at a different pace, kind of like the Latin American countries. It's got the tranquilo attitude.
And there is a lot of bureaucracy, so you will definitely need to bring your patients for that. So if you're a type A person, you gotta let go of the control. And also recognize that they tend to start later with their meals. People have a tendency to run late like they do here in Ecuador. Actually, talking about this reminded me a lot of Ecuador. They are ranked number 29 on the Global Peace Index, number 20 on the Quality of Life Index, and number 8 for healthcare. So Spain knows what they are doing.
Yeah, they're top 10 for healthcare.
Number 4 is Portugal.
This has made several of our top 10 lists, and it's one of the most popular countries in the world for expats, especially from the United States and Canada. So this one is not very controversial.
No, it is not. Portugal is great because there's so much culture and history. They have great food, great wine. It's very family friendly, and it is very affordable.
Yeah, we have been told that the energy costs have gone up with the energy crisis in Europe, and some of the houses are not insulated, so those bills in the winter months can get kind of expensive.
Housing prices have increased in some of the popular expat areas such as Lisbon and Porto, so you can check out places like Braga, Visu, and Coimbra for a few other affordable options.
Portugal ranks number 6 on the Global Peace Index. That is super high, only 5 countries are higher, so it's a very safe country.
It is number 23 for quality of life and number 22 for healthcare.
Yeah, so you got kind of the best of all 3 in Portugal.
Number 3 is Taiwan.
This is one of the more controversial countries on the list because of the tension that they're having with China right now. I'm not sure I would really feel comfortable moving there at the moment.
However, there are a lot of expats that are living there and they absolutely love it.
Taipei is probably the most popular city with expats, and there are a lot more English speakers who live there.
Other popular places to consider are Kaohsiung City, New Taipei City, or Taoyuan.
People are very friendly and accepting of Westerners, and like we said, a lot of English speakers live there. However, you should still learn some Mandarin.
Taiwan is known for its solid infrastructure and its superior public transportation. They even have one of those high-speed rail systems or those bullet trains.
I know, I want to go on a bullet train. You know what? Looking at some of these other countries and how developed they are, not only makes Ecuador look undeveloped, but the United States. There are no bullet trains in the United States going from New York to San Francisco. Where's our bullet train, America?
They do, however, have lots of traffic and crazy driving conditions. So another reason to take the train and not try to drive yourself around.
Taiwan also has lots of modern conveniences if that's important to you. So you're going to be able to find all kinds of electronics and shopping things.
Yes, but those electronics and imported foods can be more expensive. And they also have a problem with air pollution in their big cities.
Taiwan ranks number 20 on the Global Peace Index, number 15 for quality of life, and they're ranked number 2 in the world for healthcare.
Yeah, this is an excellent option if you want to have primo healthcare at an affordable price.
Number 2 is still in Asia, and that is Indonesia.
Indonesia is the largest archipelago in the world, and it consists of 5 major islands and about 30 smaller groups of islands.
There are about 350,000 expats living in the country, so you're going to see a lot of other people from around the world living there.
They have a low cost of living, and there is so much to do. They are known for shopping, nightlife, but of course the diversity in the islands, the scenery, and the amazing culture.
It's also extremely popular with tourists because of the world famous beaches, volcanoes, and of course the islands such as Bali and Komodo Dragon Island. Ooh, can we go there?
Yeah.
I want to see a Komodo dragon.
It's the only place in the world where you can see them.
Yeah, they're really friendly. You can walk right up and pet them. Do not do that. That was a joke.
I was gonna say, how do you know that? You've never seen one.
No, but they have poisonous venom.
Oh, okay. That was a bad joke. Indonesia is known for its diverse wildlife. They are home to over 100 endangered species, such as the orangutans, elephants, lions, tigers,
and
dragons.
Komodo.
Yes.
Jakarta is one of the cheapest cities in the world. It's a huge city, so you're going to have lots of traffic and lots of people. There are also a lot of expats that live in and around Jakarta, but Bali is also extremely popular.
The big cities do have problem with air and water pollution, and they also have dengue and Bali belly.
Is that like Montezuma's revenge?
Probably so. That does not sound like fun.
What do they call that in Ecuador?
I don't know.
I don't think we have a name for that. There's also a lot of cultural differences that might be a bit of a rough adjustment for you. It's very conservative, and you're probably going to want to learn some of those local customs so that you don't offend people.
They do have a problem with theft. They come in at number 47 on the Global Peace Index.
They're number 58 for quality of life and number 52 for healthcare, which is actually kind of a big improvement for Indonesia. So if you're going to want some serious, really high quality healthcare, you can go to one of those neighboring countries over there.
And finally, number 1 on the list, and this should be no surprise, is Mexico.
Yeah, I wasn't at all surprised to see this on the list because they have over 1 million expats living in Mexico. There are more expats living there than any other country in the world, so really not surprising at all that they came out number 1.
Mexico is extremely popular with people from the United States because it is so close to the United States, and we know several people who like to call it America Light because the culture shock is not as severe as some of the other countries on the list.
You're going to find a lot of the same shopping opportunities in Mexico, like Walmart, Costco, Sephora. A lot of the same restaurant chains are in Mexico. So when you go there, it's going to feel a lot like home.
Plus, if you were like many other people from the United States and Canada, you've probably gone there at least once for a beach vacation or a mountain vacation. So you already will feel a little bit familiar when you're getting off that airplane.
There are a lot of popular expat cities and areas to choose from. Some of them are like Playa del Carmen, Chapala, the Lake Chapala area with Ajijic. Mexico City is really popular now, especially with digital nomads. Mérida, Puerto Vallarta, La Paz. There's so many places that you could go stay.
And there is so much to do besides just hitting up one of those all-inclusive resorts. There is a ton of history, a ton of culture. You can go hiking, shopping, you name it.
Lots of ruins to explore too. I've been to Chichen Itza outside Cancun. That was super cool. There's also some ruins in Tulum. It's really great if you enjoy that ancient history.
And you can also enjoy the architecture and the colonial mountain sounds, which we're really looking forward to experiencing ourselves.
And then there's Mexican food, one of my favorite cuisines. Amelia and I love spicy food, which we cannot find easily here in Ecuador. That's one of the reasons why we would love to go to Thailand. I've heard that called the Mexican food of Asia because it's so spicy. And man, that's one of the draws to Mexico is the food.
And also the nice slower pace. It's a very laid back lifestyle. I imagine that maybe it's not in parts of Mexico City because that is also a commercial and international hub. However, in general, Mexico has that nice tranquilo vibe.
Yeah, and it's nice too that you have the choice between the beach and the mountains, and not only the Caribbean beach with the white sands, Riviera Maya, and one of the longest coral reefs in the world, but you also have the Pacific side too, which is it's kind of a different climate, different type of beach, and different water. So you kind of have a nice blend of things to choose from, and of course the mountains are beautiful.
Unfortunately though, Mexico comes in at 137 on the Global Peace Index because they have been in the news a lot and for a long time with the issues with the drug cartels and with crime in general.
There are some dangerous areas in Mexico. It's a really big country, so I would do some research before you plan a move to see where those areas are and avoid those. A lot of the places where the expats live are pretty safe.
Mexico is number 46 on the Quality of Life Index and number 29 on the Healthcare Index.
You may have noticed that Ecuador did not make this list. Boo! In fact, no countries in Central or South America made the list this year. Back in 2020, when they did the last survey, Ecuador ranked number 24 on this list. And we think they still deserve to be somewhere closer to the top.
We absolutely love living here in Ecuador, and we know a heck of a lot of other expats and Ecuadorians that love it here too, but the stats are kind of middle of the road.
They rank number 79 on the Global Peace Index. That means it's not that safe compared to some other countries. They're number 80 for quality of life and number 25 for healthcare, which was one of the big draws for us.
Now let's take a look at where the United States and Canada rank for these stats.
Now this first one is probably going to surprise you. It may not surprise all of you, but the United States ranks 129 on the Global Peace Index, and that's kind of a gauge of safety. So they're a lot worse than Ecuador, and people will tell us, oh, Ecuador is so much more dangerous than the US. None of the stats really support that claim. Ecuador is actually safer for the most part.
It also came in, the United States, that is, came in number 16 for the Quality of Life Index, and we take exception to that. The last time we were in the United States, there were so many people who were really stressed out and just uncomfortable and on edge. So I don't see how the quality of life can be that high, especially with inflation and the cost of everything just going through the roof.
But they also rank number 30 on healthcare, which is 5 worse than Ecuador at 25. So that's another reason why we're so happy to be here. The healthcare we feel like is a lot better. I think 30 is skewed as well. I just would not rank the US healthcare system that high.
But Canada, your stats are fantastic. We are very impressed.
Yeah, Canada, you rank number 12 for the Global Peace Index. You rank number 12 for quality of life and number 23 for healthcare.
Even with all those impressive stats, we've met a lot of people from Canada in Ecuador and in other parts of the world, and I think that's because you guys are really cold in the winter.
Yeah, a lot of Canadians like to escape those brutal winters. I've created a spreadsheet that allows you to compare the top 10 countries to Ecuador, the US, and Canada. I'll put a link below so you can go download that. You just have to sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
If this video sparked your curiosity, we think you'll like this one too.
And be sure to check that description for links to the original data sets, our newsletter, and everything else we mentioned in this video.
And let us know in the comments below if you agree or disagree about these rankings.
All right, leave us a like before you go. We'll see you all in our next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.